Hello, good day to you. Welcome to your breakthrough moment. My name is Chris Ekpekurede. I'm an engineer, an author of several books, and an elder in church. In this episode 4, I want to continue the discourse on the subject, growing your business. Now, in the last episode, I talked about how every entrepreneur must grow with their business. Now, I'm going to begin from that point. Question is this: how can anybody grow with their business if they don't develop themselves? The CEO, the manager, whoever bears any such high title must develop themselves if their business is going to grow. They must deploy technology. How can your business grow if you don't read? How can your business grow if you don't show interest in subject matter concerning your particular area of business? How can your business grow if you do not develop yourself through seminars and conferences, particularly those that relate directly to the business you do or the service you offer? I regret to say that there are many businesses today that lack a common thing like an email address for their business. Some that should have websites do not have websites. You see, in today's business world, however educated you might be, if you do not adopt technology and changing technologies in your business, you are as good as being an illiterate. Now, when I spoke to the cooperative the last time, I made an allusion to many of them leaving their businesses in the Old Testament. You know, in the Old Testament, several sacrifices had to be offered annually for cleansing. In the New Testament, Jesus came, offered one sacrifice, and provided for all of us a once and for all cleansing. Self-development, deployment of technology, following the times, is moving your business away from the Old Testament so that you don't have to offer too many sacrifices to make your business grow. Develop yourself. You can't let a whole year pass and you haven't read a book. That's unfortunate for an entrepreneur. Now, another thing, we must avoid cover-ups if our businesses are going to grow. You see, no one is above mistakes. No one is naked until they begin to cover up something. You see, I will always make an allusion to the Bible. God came and found Adam and Eve covering themselves with leaves. And God said, "Who told you you were naked? You are not naked until you begin to cover up." You see, errors by themselves do not necessarily provoke customers. What provokes customers is the effort, the inordinate effort to cover up errors, to lie about them, to manipulate about them, to give excuses, to not accept the facts. That is what provokes customers, not the errors themselves. Learn to provide what I call a good one for a bad one. If your service has displeased the customer, bounce back with a superlative performance, free of charge if you can. If you are a restaurant manager and a customer complains about stones in his rice or whatever, don't just say, "Well, I have served it, you better pay for it," or whatever. Don't give excuses. Apologize. Take back the plate of stony rice, and replace it with something else that the customer may choose. Now, you may think, why? Why do I have to do that? I'm going to lose another plate of food on account of a customer's complaint. No, you must think of the continued satisfaction of your customer and his guaranteed patronage when you replace a bad one with a good one. A good one for a bad one. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is to make contingency plans for what I call business continuity. And again, let's talk about the restaurant service provider. As a food seller, what are the major risks confronting your business? What can bring your business down? Recall that I mentioned earlier that the majority of businesses, 70% of them, do not survive the first 10 years. Your business can come crashing if you do not identify the factors or the risks that can bring on the advent of a crash. Now, as a food seller, one of the risks you face is food safety. So you should ask yourself, how do I avoid poisoning customers? How do I avoid losses arising from poor foodstuff management? And some of the logical answers will be for you to train your food handlers in basic hygiene. Another may be that, well, on account of poor electricity supply, you can't preserve your foodstuff. And then a quick solution to that may be that you should enter into an agreement with vendors to supply you a daily regimen of the foodstuff you need to keep your restaurant going. That is how you manage risk. Another risk that faces the food seller is the possibility of a fire outbreak, because let's face it, a restaurant is a place where the fire is lit constantly. A risk you face is a blaze, a destruction from a fire incident. So you should ask yourself, how do I avoid this kind of downturn? Procure extinguishers come to mind. Train your food handlers, your cooks, in the basics of smothering fires from pots or pans. Another may be, depending upon the size of your business, to take a fire insurance. Another risk you will face as a restaurant runner will be the issue of theft. You should ask yourself, how can I avoid theft that can run down my business as a food seller? Supervise the activities of your workers. I have mentioned that before. To avoid theft, install simple CCTVs in your environment. To avoid thefts, reduce the frequency of handling of raw cash. Deploy POSs in your business. These are common measures that many entrepreneurs today overlook, and they are not expensive things to do. Then finally for today, I'd like to mention the issue of honesty. You must learn to deal honestly. You must keep your promises as a service provider. I urge you to do what is right and not what is popular. You see, many times we do the things we do because that is what others do. But what others do are not necessarily right things. In Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 16, the Bible says, everyone who cheats is detestable to God. Everyone who cheats is an abomination to God. In a previous episode, I talked about the renter who was counting the chairs that my wife brought to his party. Now, I'd like to close by sharing another experience from my wife's business. In this case, it was about a co-renter who came to her to help her pick shave. She had oversubscribed and needed, the service of other renters, to fill the gaps. And incidentally, my wife told her, look, I'm also fully subscribed this time, but perhaps you can go to XYZ. I know she has capacity as we speak. And you know what that fellow said? The co-renter said to her, she said, I have suggested going to that person, going to XYZ, and the customer says, I don't want to hear about that person. That has a direct bearing to the issue of reputation, which we discussed earlier. Deal honestly, because honesty dovetails into your reputation. Now, let me end today's episode by letting us know that most of what I'm sharing in this series is from my book, Take Your Service to Maximum. Take Your Service to Maximum. Read along with one of my bestsellers, Take That Action. You are well on your way to growing your business, to doing things right. Thank you so much. We will continue in the next episode. But once again, do subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you will automatically get subsequent episodes. My name is Chris Ekpekurede. Enjoy your day.